turn in the gallery. Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Mescudi, entered with a heavy heart. You could see it in his eyes. The weight of the world seemed to rest on his shoulders. This was not a stage he chose. This was a duty he felt compelled to perform. He was there to tell his truth. My truth involves fear. It involves betrayal. It involves a Porsche, my prized possession, engulfed in flames. I believe Diddy was the man behind that destructive act. The courtroom waited. Every breath was held. The silence was a prelude to the emotional storm that was about to break. A storm Cudi himself would unleash with his words. The journey to this moment had been long. For Cudi, it was fraught with personal turmoil. For the court, it was another crucial piece in a complex puzzle. Diddy's trial had already seen shocking revelations. Videos, accusations of coercion, tales of drug-fueled parties. But Cudi's testimony promised something different. It was personal. It was direct. It was the story of a friendship allegedly shattered by intimidation and violence. The world watched, wondering what new depths this trial would plumb. This was not just about me. It was about the truth. The quiet hum of the air conditioning seemed to mock the simmering emotions in the room, a mechanical indifference to the human drama unfolding. As Cudi settled into the witness chair, a hush fell. Reporters scribbled furiously. Lawyers shuffled papers. Diddy stared ahead, his expression unreadable yet radiating a cold fury. The jury members leaned forward, their faces a mixture of curiosity and solemnity. They knew the testimony they were about to hear could be pivotal. Cudi took a deep breath. He looked toward the prosecution. He was ready. The courtroom braced itself. The story of a torched car, a symbol of a friendship turned to ash, was about to be laid bare for all to hear, its implications reaching far beyond the individuals involved. The prosecutor began his questioning gently at first. He asked Kid Cudi to state his name for the record. Scott Ramon Seguro Mescudi. His voice was low. It trembled slightly. This was not the confident performer fans knew. This was a man burdened by what he was about to share. He spoke of his relationship with Sean Combs. He described a friendship that once held promise, a bond forged in the demanding world of music. But then, he said, things changed. The courtroom listened, rapt. Every word seemed to carry an immense weight, each syllable echoing in the tense silence that enveloped the proceedings. Cudi detailed the breakdown of that friendship. We had disagreements. I felt growing unease. Sean did not take kindly to being crossed. His hands clenched as he spoke. His gaze often drifted downwards as if reliving painful memories. The emotion was raw. It was visible. Tears welled in his eyes at several points during his initial statements. He paused, collecting himself, the microphone picking up his shaky breaths.
Please, take your time, Mr. Mescudi.
The judge watched him with a careful, neutral expression, but the entire room felt the palpable sorrow and trepidation emanating from the witness stand. The questions then turned to specific incidents. Cudi's voice gained a slight edge of anger. It mixed with the sorrow. He recounted a home break-in. I felt violated. I was scared. These were not random acts of violence. He was building a narrative of intimidation, a narrative of a powerful man allegedly using fear as a weapon. The jury exchanged brief, almost imperceptible glances. They were clearly absorbing every detail, their faces etched with concentration as they tried to piece together the complex tapestry of events being laid before them. I felt targeted, watched, unsafe in my own home. The music that once brought me joy became a backdrop to a period of intense anxiety. He explained how his sense of security was shattered. He implied that these events were designed to send him a message. A chilling message. The prosecution allowed him to speak, to let the emotion flow. They knew the power of this testimony lay not just in the facts, but in the visceral human experience Cudi was conveying. The courtroom was no longer just a hall of justice. It was a theater of raw human suffering and accusation. The climax of Kid Cudi's initial testimony arrived. It was the moment everyone had been waiting for. The prosecutor asked about his Porsche. Cudi's face tightened, his voice already strained, now cracked with undeniable pain and anger. He recounted the night his beloved car was destroyed. He described it vividly.
It was not just an accident, it was an attack. My Porsche was torched with a Molotov cocktail.
The words hung in the air, heavy and menacing. The image was stark. A luxury car, a symbol of success, reduced to a burning wreck by a crude, violent act. He did not hesitate. He did not waver. Kid Cudi directly implicated Sean Combs.
I believe Diddy was responsible.
His eyes locked with the jury for a moment. He wanted them to understand his conviction. He wanted them to feel the certainty that had haunted him. He explained his reasons. He spoke of the timing. He spoke of the nature of the attack. He connected it to the ongoing disputes and the atmosphere of intimidation he had previously described. He painted a picture of retaliation, swift and brutal. The courtroom was stunned into an even deeper silence. The accusation was direct, unambiguous, and deeply personal.
The shock, the disbelief, the fear that escalated to a new level, the investigation or lack thereof that satisfied me.
He spoke of the investigation, or lack thereof, that satisfied him. He felt the incident was a clear message, a message that he was vulnerable, a message that crossing Sean Combs had severe consequences. He emphasized that Diddy denied any involvement, but Cudi's skepticism was clear. His testimony was a damning indictment, based on his personal experience and belief. He wasn't just recounting an event. He was accusing a man, once a friend, of a malicious and dangerous act intended to terrorize. The emotional toll of this specific accusation was evident. Cudi paused several times. He wiped his eyes. The act of verbalizing his deepest fears and suspicions in such a public forum was clearly draining.
The car was not just a material possession, it was a symbol of my hard work. Its destruction felt like a personal violation, an attempt to break my spirit.
The jurors watched him intently, their expressions unreadable, but their focus absolute. The image of the burning Porsche, fueled by Cudi's emotional testimony, became a potent symbol of the alleged darkness at the heart of the trial. All through Kid Cudi's harrowing account, Sean Diddy Combs sat in the defendant's chair. He was a study in controlled fury. Dressed in the stark orange prison jumpsuit, a stark contrast to his usual tailored suits, he was a fallen icon under the harsh glare of justice. As Cudi spoke of the torched Porsche, Diddy's jaw tightened. His knuckles resting on the defense table were visibly white. He tried to maintain an air of calm, but the mask was slipping. The anger in his eyes was unmistakable. It was a cold, hard anger that seemed to radiate across the courtroom, a silent rebuttal to the words being spoken.
Did you see that? He looks like he's about to explode.
Witnesses in the gallery later described Diddy's demeanor as incredibly tense. He shifted in his seat. He exchanged sharp, whispered words with his legal team. His lawyers occasionally placed a calming hand on his arm, but the fury was barely contained. He would often stare directly at Kid Cudi. His gaze was intense. It was unwavering. It was the look of a man confronting a betrayal, or perhaps the look of a man hearing an uncomfortable truth. The courtroom buzzed with unspoken speculation about what lay behind that steely facade. His every micro-expression was being analyzed by the press and the public.
He's not taking this well at all.
At one point, as Cudi detailed his belief that Diddy was behind the arson, Combs visibly scoffed. He shook his head almost imperceptibly. It was a small gesture, but in the charged atmosphere of the courtroom, it was magnified. It spoke volumes. It was a denial. It was defiance. It was perhaps a hint of the frustration of being unable to directly confront his accuser in that moment.
Order in the court.
The judge, ever watchful, noted the reaction. A slight narrowing of her eyes serving as a silent warning for decorum to be maintained by all parties involved in the proceedings. The contrast between the emotionally vulnerable Cudi and the rigidly controlled Diddy was stark. One man wept openly, the other simmered with a contained rage. Diddy's attempts to appear unfazed were in themselves telling. He was a man fighting for his freedom. He was fighting for his reputation. He was fighting against a tide of damning accusations. And in that moment, as Kid Cudi's voice filled the courtroom, Diddy's silent, furious presence spoke as loudly as any testimony. The image of him,